Are you someone who loves having a flowing river beside you while trekking? Then you're not alone, because so many of us at Indiahikes, we were just talking and we realized we really love river walks. So we started talking about it and we were discussing that what are some of the best river walks you've done, because a river is not just something you walk beside. You kind of form a very deep connection with it. It kind of becomes a reflection of yourself, and there are some treks that allow you to do that. So we have around 25 treks where you come across a river, but out of all of those, we've zeroed in on 6 treks that really give you a very nice river experience, where I've always seen trekkers come back and say, man, I love that river. So that's the list I'm about to share with you today. If you're planning a trek anytime in the next few months, then these must be on top of your list, especially if you're a river lover like us. So let's get started. On top of my list for the best river experiences has got to be the Rupin Pass trek. This might be a personal bias. I thought it was, but then I got a very resounding assurance from a lot of people, because the Rupin River is something that you see in many forms and shapes on this Rupin Pass trek, and it kind of is a reflection of yourself. Sometimes it's a very gently flowing river, sometimes you see it cascading down 1,500 feet and see it, in absolute force, and then you see it in a very gentle stream at Upper Waterfall. So you kind of follow the Rupin River's journey upstream almost all the way to the source, and that's a very special experience. You form a very deep bond with the Rupin River. In fact, I highly recommend watching our video on why we love the Rupin Pass trek, because so many of us share our love for that river in that video. So you must make it a point to watch it. But for that river experience, Rupin is on top of my list. The next trek on my list is a trek I cannot afford to miss on this particular list, because this trek has probably made the biggest river lovers, and that's the Har Ki Dun Trek. Now, almost anyone who's gone on the Har Ki Dun Trek and come back has told me that they've fallen in love with the Thamsa River, because it's a very pretty river, most of the times very gentle. You see it in this lovely blue turquoise waters, you see it transparent, and then you follow its journey all the way until you actually reach the Har Ki Dun Valley. You see this big Swargarohini massif in the backdrop and this river flowing quietly in the middle of the valley. It's a very, very special experience, because you're walking beside it, always hearing the river. So that river forms a very deep connect with most trekkers, which is why it is right at the top of this list as well. The next trek on my list is almost an obvious one, which if I don't include, I'm going to be done for, and that is the Gaumukh Tapovan trek. Because a Gaumukh Tapovan trek, everyone who goes on the trek comes back almost with a very spiritual bent of mind, because on this trek it's not just the Bhagirathi river that you're seeing, but you're going to be seeing the birth of the river at its snout at the Gaumukh, and you're going to be seeing the glacier that is giving birth to this river. Imagine seeing this river all the way from its confluence at Devprayag, where the Bhagirathi meets Alaknanda, and then you go all the way tracing its journey to its birthplace. So that's a very, very rare experience that you can have, and you also get to go slightly above that to Tapovan and see this beautiful shivling. So it's a very, very nice combination of just the river, the glacier, the snout, and these big mountains around you. It kind of leaves you in a very reflective, very thoughtful, meditative state, if I have to say, and I've seen this in all trekkers who've gone there. So no matter if a trekker's done 10 treks, Gaumukh Tapovan will be in their top 2, and this is what I've noticed. So this is definitely going to be on our list for the best river experiences. Speaking of glaciers and snouts, the next trek I'm talking about is perhaps something you're not familiar with, because we just explored, documented and named this trek in 2025, and that is the Chandra Bhaga Glaciers trek. Now, the trek name itself is because of the Bhaga river and the glaciers that you're going to be seeing. So you can imagine the journey that you're going to be tracing on this trek. It starts at Baralachala, almost at 16,000 feet, little higher than 16,000 feet, and you're hovering around that altitude on this entire trek. So it is a completely desolate land in Spiti. You're going to be walking all along the river upstream, tracing its journey to the glaciers, and you see the snout where the river is flowing in full force and coming out of it. So it's an experience that leaves you quite intimidated because you see things so magnificent, so larger than life, that very few trekkers have seen such sceneries in their lives. So this is a trek that is not very easy because you're hovering at 16,000 feet and climbing to a highest of 17,000 feet, not any normal altitude by any means. So you need to be fit, you need to be prepared. So if you want to experience a river in a very different setting, then this trek must definitely be on your list. The next trek on my list is very different from all of them I've mentioned so far because it's in central India, and that is the Chhattisgarh jungle trek. Now, on all these other treks I mentioned, you maybe walk alongside the river, you cross these icy streams, but on the Chhattisgarh jungle trek, you walk inside the river and along the length of the river for almost an entire day. This is one of those unprecedented experiences because the water is cool, it's a sunny day, and the bottom of the bed is like soft sand that you're walking on, and the waters are just about shin deep or ankle deep. So it's a very nice space for you to just kind of unwind. You don't even feel like you're trekking and putting in effort. So it's a very nice experience. The name of the river is the Gopat River. I'm sure most of us had not heard of it until this particular trek, but once you go into the Chhattisgarh jungle trek, you come out loving the jungles of course, but you come out loving this Gopat River a lot more. So I hope you get a chance to do this trek. The best time to do it is in winter, small window, but please do it for the river experience. The final trek on my list is a trek that does not get featured for rivers very often because it's more known for flowers, and that is the Valley of Flowers trek. Now everybody goes to Valley of Flowers either for the flowers or for Hemkund Sahib, but very few people talk about the river experience because over here the Pushpavati river is one of the biggest highlights on the trek. It stays with you from the beginning almost to the end, and there is this beautiful river bed section that many trekkers go to, not all trekkers, because it's a bit of a deviation from the main trail and it requires some time and fitness to do it. But if you get a chance to go to this riverbed, it is a very beachy location where you can sit by the river, and it's one of the most reflective spaces on the trek. So Valley of Flowers minus the crowds is this riverbed experience, one of the biggest highlights for most trekkers who go there. So in monsoon, when you do this trek, I hope you get a chance to go to this particular location of the river. It will remain with you as one of the best experiences of your life. So that was my list of the best treks for the river experience alone. I know it's a very debatable list and you may have some others on your mind. So please drop in a comment. I would like to know which trek you have in mind where you've had that very nice river experience. I have deliberately left out a whole lot to keep this list quite crisp and bring those best ones out, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. But that's all from me today. We have a lot of other lists that we have made of recommendations if you're a spiritual trekker or if you want to see really good sunsets and sunrises. We have all those videos on our channel, so make sure you follow us, subscribe and get notified of our newer videos. But that's all from me today. I'll be back with more soon. I'm Swathi from Indiahikes and you're watching Trek with Swathi.